Hello, everyone. Welcome to the big day of giving celebrations. My name is Dan Duda from Headwaters Science Institute. I've had the pleasure of lecturing and mentoring students throughout the Headwaters research experience. So that's a unique digital program where we actually pair students up with professional mentors in order to reinforce and allow them to do their own novel research. So today, which is we have a special guest. His name's Ethan Liu. He was actually one of our financial aid recipients, and he's done a fantastic job in conducting his own novel research that's pretty close to home. This was something that he was very passionate about, and today we get to hear a little bit from him. But before we get into that, I just want to say again, thank you so much for everyone for donating to our Big Day of Giving page. If you haven't received the notification already, we've actually hit halfway towards our goal for our Big Day of Giving fundraise. So if you can, follow the URL at the bottom of the screen here and donate whatever you can. We truly appreciate it, and it allows us to continue to allow these programs and supply students with novel research experiences. Okay. And so I would like to bring up Ethan Liu. How are you doing, Ethan?
Hi. Sorry. Hi. Hi, I'm good. How are you? Thank you everyone
Um,
for coming today.
yeah, I'm doing fantastic, and I'm really glad that we're able to get you here to talk about your unique experience within the program, and to let everyone know, Ethan was actually one of my mentees, so I helped him throughout the entire summer throughout his research experience, and he accomplished a lot in a very short period of time, but I couldn't be more proud of the work that he was able to do.
It was great being your mentee. You were tremendously helpful to me.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. So we have a few. I have a few questions that I want to ask you today. So can you tell the audience briefly about your project?
Yeah, sure. So I live in New York City, and in New York City, there are different regions of the city. So there's one Chinatown and another Bayside. So Chinatown makes up of a more there's more of a Chinese population there, and their the economic their social economic status, they have um basically it's more affluent, and Chinatown has a less, I guess they have less funding for their water pipes.
Mhm.
So my research is about determining whether that less funding for the water pipes actually will affect their water supply, and determine a potential case of an environmental injustice. And the results I found were that these two regions actually didn't have a significant difference in their water quality. So that's great to hear, honestly, and it reassures me and reassures the New York community that um, there's not an there's not an environmental injustice case in these regions.
Well, that's honestly amazing to hear. And I remember in our discussions during the research experience, did you? I think t- tell me a little bit about the restaurants and the individuals that you talked to and obtained the water samples from. Were they excited that you were doing this project?
Yeah, a lot of people actually asked me while I was collecting the water, and it was super nice to see how everyone was so curious about my project, and I happily explained my the purpose of my project, and they were all really cooperative. I No restaurant were totally objecting me collecting their water sample. There were a few, but it's okay. Yeah, um, and they were just really supportive of the project, and yeah. I was actually able to get back to one of the restaurants after the research process and
Mhm.
explain how her restaurant actually has her restaurant water met the quality standards, and she was glad to hear it.
That's always good, and it's definitely reassuring to be a business owner and know that your water quality is up to par and meets the standards. So that's always good. I'm sure it really was reassuring. Yeah, so I guess there's a few questions additional that I have to ask you that were not on the ones that we sent you. Now, the whole research experience process. You obviously went through it, but you're doing a lot more after the research experience process because you took the additional effort to publish in Journal of Emerging Investigators. So, can you walk through, what was the motivation for taking the extra mile in publishing your research in this independent outlet?
Mhm. Yeah, so because Headwater Science Institute, there's a limited audience to the amount of people that can actually read my article. I wanted to bring this topic and to a wider audience so more people can see what I'm talking about and learn something. Because, of course, not everyone lives in New York City, so it might be a good case study for people to understand. And yeah, and also, in addition, I think that it's a great experience just kind of learning publishing and how to like the setbacks you might receive from like receiving like tons of edits and how it can be stressful sometimes to manage all of them, but it's also really you learn a lot from doing it, and um it can help you like build this, I guess you build this like what's that, like you kind of, I guess you like build this momentum like when you
Mhm.
right, because I I started like editing with GI like kind of like a month after I finished my article. So it was like great to continue my momentum and just continue my research process and
Mhm.
like see how far I could go with it. And I think it could also be helpful for when I do future studies because I want to pursue something in the science field, I guess, or in the law field. And I think this would be great because it kind of allows me to get some experience, first-hand experience, in knowing how to publish an article, which is a pretty crucial skill if you want to go in the science field.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So I guess we can, go back to more of the questions related to the research experience and, your future goals. So, how was your experience with the program?
I had a really good experience with the program. I'm a I received financial aid. I think I got a full scholarship to attend this program, and it was a really generous aid by Headwaters. And this is because of you guys. You guys are able to donate to us and help us fund these scholarships for people in need. So first of all, thank you for giving to Headwaters. And it was great because my financial aid didn't end just by like at the end of my like it didn't end with getting accepted to the program. They
Mhm.
also helped me purchase my supplies, and Dan also offered free follow-up meetings for when I have questions during my process with publishing my article on GI. GI is just Journal of Emerging Investigators. Um, but yeah, it was a really great experience. I feel like the people, like my peers, they were also supportive as well. We would do these peer editing sessions where we like reviewed three other people's articles, and everyone's feedback were really helpful. And I think it's a really great teamwork and collaborative environment where you learn a lot. And I learned so many new skills, and whether it's by like collecting data or writing a manuscript or even like helping like my peers edit and having like getting a seeing like other styles of writing, it was really
Mhm.
helpful for me. And yeah, I had a really good experience with GI. I'm not GI with Headwaters.
So yeah, with Headwaters. Well, that's fantastic to hear, and we we really do try our best to supply that great experience, that great learning experience where you do learn a lot. It is a rigorous program, but at the end of the day, you come out with a manuscript that you're quite proud of, and some work, especially if you take the initiative like you do. You can make the work very personalized and close to home. So it gives you a sense of ownership and pride in your work too. So
Yeah.
really fantastic to hear. So I would say, what's your biggest takeaway from the research experience?
I think my biggest takeaway from this experience is kind of just not give up like after the setbacks I received. Like even collecting data, it was kind of difficult to like I remember when it was the summer, it was really hot, and all my restaurants were really far away from each other, and I had to like walk to each restaurant, and it was just all like, kind of exhausting because it took a few hours, honestly. But it taught me to just like not give up, even when there's a lot of like stress, or it's not stress really, but a lot of I guess a lot of just like a lot of setbacks, I guess. So
Mhm.
but like Headwaters is really accommodating to me, and they don't really have set deadlines, but they will help you if you can't make it, if you can't if you miss if you miss a good deadline, they are really lenient with it and they will help you like catch up and stuff. And I guess like another takeaway that I have to is to kind of like when I because I'm pretty passionate about the topic I chose. So I think one takeaway is to always is not is to pick it is to like kind of do something that you want to do and be passionate about it. And I feel like if I picked a topic that I didn't really enjoy, I feel like that would have been a lot more difficult to write my manuscript and a lot more difficult to continue like to do the extra take that extra initiative to publish it on GI. So I feel like another takeaway is to just always pursue your passions.
I think that's a great takeaway, and that's one that we truly embrace. We want all of the students to truly, chase their passions, and investigate a topic that they love, so that they do have that sense of ownership and pride, and have that sense of initiative to do the research. And of course, I know your field work must have been pretty tough, because there's always a mixture of people who do field work or people that do some type of data mining project, but you definitely we're outside collecting data, running around New York, so you did a fantastic job. So this is more for your future plans. What do you plan to do after you leave high school?
So I would like to be an environmental lawyer in the far future, but I guess immediately after high school, I want to explore my passions a bit more before I commit to being an environmental lawyer. So that can include like maybe taking some engineering classes and see if I fit more into the environmental engineer path. But I definitely want to do something in the environmental field, because I feel like that is a really pressing issue in today's society, and we need as much contributions and like efforts to combat the climate crisis that we're dealing with. So yeah, definitely either I want to pursue something in the environmental law field or maybe environmental engineering field.
Well, those are both very, very promising paths, and I'm sure you're going to excel, greatly in whichever path you choose. And then, lastly, do you have any advice for students wanting to learn more about science?
Yeah, I feel like if you want to learn more about science, Headwaters is a great like place to start. I feel like if you don't know what kind of science you want to do or what kind of path you want to take, you, in the first session, I remember we were just generating ideas, and this is a great way to explore your passions. And if you want to learn more about science, there's obviously also free resources such as I think it's called Lunch with the Scientist talk that Headwaters offer. Yeah,
Yep.
you could definitely do that, or even join like a club in your school that deals with science. They're all great ways to explore your passions in science. And another piece of advice is to definitely just, like I said earlier, kind of don't give up. I feel like science is it's STEM focused. It's usually work heavy, and
Yep.
it'll take a lot of time and stuff. But if you want to pursue science, yeah, just always stick with your passions and see what fits you and see what you enjoy doing the most.
Yeah, I definitely couldn't agree with you more. Science is definitely not the easiest path to follow, but it can be the most rewarded, especially if you follow your passions in that field. So, Ethan, I think that's about it. Do you want to have any additional closing remarks regarding the experience to leave the audience with?
Oh yeah, sure. So, well, one thing that I guess I'll talk about like the thing that I liked most about Headwaters, and it was definitely the one-on-one meetings with my mentor or whatever mentor you're assigned to. But I really liked my meetings with Dan because it like we were able to like he was like super nice, and he would always like be patient with my questions because I would ask a lot of questions because it was super confusing. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's like one of my that's like the thing I enjoy most about Headwaters. How like and also like Jen was super like sweet, and she would always teach us about like scientific process. And yeah, I feel like if I could do it again, I would definitely do it again. I feel like I won't ever regret joining Headwaters. And yeah.
Well, Ethan, thank you so much for being on this stream with us today. And I hope to read your publication in Journal of Emerging Investigators soon.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Yeah, I hope I get that done soon. Yeah.
All right, take care, Ethan. Have a good one.
Bye.
All right, everyone. So that was again Ethan Liu. He did a fantastic job with his project in the Headwaters research experience. If you are interested, if you're a parent or if you're a student watching this and you're interested in doing your own novel research, you can navigate to our webpage at headwatersscienceinstitute.org, navigate to the extracurricular programs, and the Headwaters research experience is listed right under that menu. Okay, so there's still room for the summer experience, so definitely go and check it out. One of the perks of participating in this program is that the students really do get to, follow their passions. So the students really do get to follow their passions. And students, like Ethan, who take the extra effort to go, that extra mile to actually publish in Journal of Emerging Investigators. That's something that he's going to be able to, keep with him for the rest of his life and throughout his career in STEM. So, whenever a student comes out of the program, whenever they give their presentations during our presentation nights, whenever they publish their manuscript, they really are taking the first step in becoming a young scientist. So it's a very rewarding process for all of them. But that's all we have today for the interview with Ethan. And I just want to also remind everyone to join us at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for a special presentation for this big day of giving celebration that we're having all day. It's going to feature Dr. Laurel Larson. She's an associate professor at UC Berkeley in the departments of geography and civil and environmental engineering, and is a Delta lead scientist for the USGS Delta Stewardship Council. She's going to be introducing us to how climate change is impacting the water cycle, why these changes can be challenging to predict, and a lot more regarding California's water situation. So please tune in later on today at 5:30 p.m. to learn more about that. Again, thank you so much for tuning in for this discussion, and I hope to see you later on today. Take care, everyone.